I don't think they miss Kincaid as much as we would have thought at the beginning of the year.
I completely agree. I
Yeah.
think I think Dawson Knox kinda we forget about him and what he can add, but this last week was another example. We'll start with this question from Robin.
So there's still a damn good defense. I have zero problem with them bringing this guy in.
All right, welcome back to the Buffalo Plus channel presented by Connors and Ferris. Mike Catalana, I am Jenna Cottrell. Dan Fates with another Father's Day off. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. We always appreciate it. Thank you so much. Welcome to the latest episode of You Ask, We Answer, presented by Stellar Roofing, Windows, and Siding. Some great questions to get into to Mike. And I think a lot of fans feeling very good after the Bills locked up the 5th straight AFC East title.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. 7 wins in a row, dominant, scoring 30 a game. I just did an interview with Kurt Sandoval in LA, and he was talking about the Rams and what the Bills are going to face. And you're going to see that on the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel this week. And I looked at the Rams with all they have, and they've scored over 30 points one time.
Wow.
And I'm thinking the Bills do this basically every game. And, they're playing well. Things are going well. There's still a lot to be decided, but yeah, it's a pretty good spot to be in where they are right now.
Yeah, I would say so for sure. All right, so let's get into our questions. The first one from Gerald Sorge, 6347. Outside of Kincaid, is there one IR player you are anxious to see return?
I want to see Smoot back. I
Oh,
think I
okay.
just think he is an impactful player. I think he plays the run pretty well. I think he gives you a pass rush. You can never have enough in terms of pass rush.
Yeah.
I'm still interested to see how they use Dorian Williams
Mhm.
with Milano back in his role, or at least in a good portion of his role, because I think Dorian Williams can help them in the pass rush. But I thought Smoot was pretty good for them when healthy. I mean, we'll wait to see where he is and coming back. But if they can get him back and playing, I'm looking forward to seeing him. Who you got?
I would say Dwayne Carter is another
Yeah.
player that jumps out. Had the wrist surgery earlier on in the season. I wasn't sure if he would come back this past week, but obviously the Bills downgraded him to out before the game. But talk about Smoot. Dwayne Carter is someone that I think, I had very low expectations for. Like, let's see what can happen this season. But he had some really nice flashes for the Bills and his time out there. So I'm hopeful that maybe his time away, he can continue to kind of get back into and ready for what this season can have. But yeah, so far I've been like, okay, like more than expected. So with him back on the field, maybe he can have a couple more plays that make you say, wait, who's that guy out there?
Yeah,
Um,
it's going to be interesting in how they manipulate the roster too. And Quentin Jefferson made a play again on
yeah,
Sunday,
he's played.
but
Yeah.
he has. But you wonder, like, where do they make these moves? Because they're going to bring guys back onto the 53-man roster or coming back, and then they have to make corresponding moves to go with them. And do they take some players? Now that Milano's back, maybe a linebacker comes off. Like it's going to be interesting to see. But D linemen, you play a
Mhm.
lot of them. You need the depth. You need guys who can make plays. So it's good.
Yeah.
Would be good to have both those guys back.
Yeah, definitely. Another question, this is from Josh Martin, 1482. What is the realistic expectations for Keon and Kincaid for the rest of the year slash postseason? Is it naive to think getting them back will significantly improve the offense? Now, just a note, Sean McDermott talked on Monday, and he said that Keon and Kincaid are both progressing. So it's something they're going to continue to watch this week headed into the Rams game. But it does seem like Keon might be closer than Kincaid. But what do you make of that question, Mike?
Yeah, listen, I think Keon brings an element that they don't really have when he's out. I mean, he will go up and get it.
Mhm.
That is his strength. Um, he's a physical player. He's a run after the catch guy, different, obviously, than Shakir. I think he gives them that. Yes, they have missed Kincaid. Gotta say, it's not the same numbers, but Dawson Knox has stepped up with some really nice
Yeah.
plays, and he
Yeah.
reminds everybody that I can still play. And I don't think they miss Kincaid as much as we would have thought at the beginning of the year.
I completely agree. I
Yeah.
think I think Dawson Knox we forget about him and what he can add, but this last week was another example of when given the opportunity, like he had two of those really nice catches
Mhm.
and those were game-changing, drive-changing catches. And so I think while Kincaid, you look at the name and you're like, oh, that's a big loss for the Bills. I think when you actually look at the product on the field and where the team is at collectively right now, it is not as impactful as even what I was expecting a couple weeks ago. And I think you're right about Keon. Like he does add that plays above the rim type of dynamic, but I do think he has been more of a factor this season. I just think that he has been so I think Keon will be good to get back. Another option too, right? We saw
Yeah.
Matt Collins step up in this game last week, had the touchdown, like made some nice plays. But I think it's always nice to have as many weapons as possible. And so while I think Kincaid is further away than Keon, I think it's important for Keon to get back out there. And because he's been able to do what he's done so far this season, which is make some really nice contested catches when you didn't expect that to happen. And also, it was just super nice to see Amari Cooper back out on the
Yes.
field. Like he has obviously, I feel like for a lot of Bills fans, they were so frustrated because the Bills make this trade, he plays in the game and then gets hurt. And obviously it led to the insane touchdown by Josh Allen, which was ridiculous. But I think the Bills are trending in the right direction. And especially at this point in the season, that is just encouraging to see.
It's Amari Cooper's had a really good NFL career, but he's almost like the answer to a trivia question.
Yeah,
Who
that's
was the
fair.
wide receiver? And Josh was like, he should have gotten an assist. Like there should be a stat for that. It was a great, almost, it wasn't a no look pass, but he kind of did it like a point guard. Like he just shoved it off
Yeah.
to the side, wondering why Josh was standing in front of him like
I
he
love
was.
that too, where he's like,
Yeah.
why was
Why are
Josh
you,
right in front of me?
why are you here?
What
What
are
are
you
you
doing?
doing?
What are you doing?
I wanted to ask you about Knox.
Mhm.
Tremendous teammate, was so
Yeah.
welcoming from day one when they brought Kincaid in. Like, let's go. He's a guy with me. And I don't think it's lip service from Dawson Knox. Team first guy,
Yeah.
got another guy with him. Dawson Knox knows he can play in this league and make plays. But I do think there's a part of him that is like not about Kincaid. He wants Kincaid back. Like, I'm not pretending that he's sitting there.
1,000%. Like, guys, I'm still here and I'm
I'm
still
here.
gonna make plays. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's motivated him a little bit, I think, because Josh will look for him. I mean, he made that big catch in, was it Indy? Oh, I should remember this. It's a 30-yard play
I
over the
think
middle.
was
Was
it
it in
Indy?
Indy? I should remember.
It's so
I
sad how much they all blend together.
I know, but he made a nice catch. Was a great throw by Josh. I
Yeah.
mean, they have, he has made some big plays. Somebody's going to answer. Thankfully, will
Yes.
answer in the comments here.
Thank you.
Uh, but yeah, I like the way he's played. I think he knows he's got his role, and we'll see how it goes. And Kincaid could be back this week. Like we don't know. We'll find out more at
Yeah.
practice this week.
We'll be at
When
practice
Sean,
on Wednesday.
yeah, when Sean says that, like basically they're trending back, that's usually a pretty good sign. They're moving towards it. Now, whether they decide he's ready to go or not, I mean, he didn't practice at all last week, so I
Yes.
think Keon is ahead of him, but we'll
Yeah.
see.
I think it has been redeeming for like personally for Dawson Knox. Because yeah, I think you're right. It's easy to kind of forget about what he's done for the team. And I do think that two things can exist of like
Yeah.
him being a team player and then also being like, yeah, but guys, I can still make really big plays. And it's cool to see his confidence grow as well because yeah, he was the guy that originally the Bills brought in as the tight end that was going to be the guy.
Mhm.
So I think sometimes myself, I will downplay the impact that he can have, but the last couple of weeks have been a really nice reminder. So
You really think two things can exist at the same time? Because I was on
it's
social media and everybody says no. It's got to be
it's
100% one way or the other.
yeah, it's a really novel concept. I feel like it's a new one.
Yeah. Wow. Gray
I
area.
Yeah,
Crazy.
right? Can you imagine? Also, my hair is wet and like drying right now, so no one cares, but it's bothering the hell out of me, so just don't
I
mind.
just got mine cut.
So gross.
Uh,
Did you really?
yeah.
Tell Heather I say hi.
How can
Fun fact.
how can you tell? I mean, it's basically the same. It's just
I can
slightly
usually
shorter.
tell. I feel like most women can tell.
Yeah.
Fun fact, Michael and I get our hair cut by the same woman.
She's awesome. She
She
spends
is.
her time with me. We talk a lot because
Yes.
Heather can talk like I talk.
No one can talk like you can talk.
She's pretty good. We talk. She spends 20% on the hair. I mean, what really? How long is this going to take?
You've
I
held
mean,
on though.
it's more of a just like a conversation. Snip, snip, snip. Done. Boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom. Yep. Let's make the next appointment. You, it's a whole process because you got that
Yeah.
all that going on.
Yeah. I got a little bit more hair than
Yes,
you do, just a little
that's
bit.
it.
But yeah. Yeah. Shout out Heather. We love
That's
her.
it.
Okay. Coffee Lover RX. What are your thoughts on Milano's first game? What are the strengths/challenges did you notice?
Here's what I noticed. People were judging him already. Like people are like, Milano's slow. Milano's not. I'm like, it was like 4 snaps into it. I thought he was out there for a lot of snaps.
I did
I
too.
asked Sean about it in the post, and he said, you know, we had a lot of first and second downs. It's the way that early part of the game went. And they joked that Milano said, I'm going to sneak out there on third down more. I thought he started to move better and better. He looked energized. He's wearing that big old
Big brace.
brace.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a club for him, though. And he did have one really nice hit. His
Mhm.
speed is still there. Like I know he had the broken leg, but
Yeah.
he was flying on a couple of plays. I think it's going to take him a little while. Jenna, he's played 5 games in the last 2 years.
I know. I thought he played what I thought he would play. It was a nice game, had that nice the big hit you talked about,
Right?
but it was also a tough game to come back because the footing was really
Yes.
it's really challenging for
Yeah.
everyone out there. It's hard to show your speed when you're on like an ice patch
Yeah.
essentially.
Get him out in LA this week, and
Yeah.
then in the dome the next week, he'll be running around like I think we'll start to see more of who he is. I thought he was going to be, honestly, I didn't know if he'd be even on more of a pitch count. I know when Trey White came back, it was from the
Yeah.
Achilles, and, that's a very different thing. But in this case, it was more about the arm. But you
Now I
see
did notice them
58. Yeah,
ad
you just see the way he anticipates plays and all. That's all
yeah.
still there. He's just got to get in game shape.
I did notice them adjusting his brace on the sidelines at points throughout the game. So I think that
Yeah.
they're still finagling how that will fit comfort wise, what that will look like. But I did think right before his first snap back on the defense, like him and Bernard, banged helmets, and I could,
Yeah.
I felt like there was a little bit of nervousness, a little bit of jitters, but like, of
Yeah.
course there was. Naturally, I feel like it's
Yeah.
going to take some time for him to settle back in. So I
Yeah.
was surprised by how long he was out on the field because I really did think that he would be a little bit more limited in the number of snaps, but it seems like the Bills are really trying to amp him back up and get him back into playing shape. So I thought he played well. Is there room for improvement? Absolutely,
Oh,
but
yeah.
that's what you would expect coming back from 2 injuries and
Yeah.
and where he was at coming into this.
I did want to say finagling is a great word. It really
Is
is.
that an old
It
man word?
it is, but when you
Okay.
hear that word, I can see the trainer, tr
Finagling.
yeah. Again, I don't know if it's a made up word or,
I
somebody
don't know.
it's probably one of these words
Finagling.
from the 1910s and, and it just has hung around, but it's a descriptive word. Even though I don't know what it actually means, but I know what the result of it is, if that makes sense. I mean, there's
Oh my god.
probably
I
some
don't think we're using finagle right.
why?
It says finagle is to obtain something by devious or dishonest means. Hold on, maybe I'm spelling it wrong. It
Isn't it
says to obtain something through trickery.
Oh, well, actually, now that I think about it, yeah, actually, you did use it incorrectly. See, I
Yeah,
said it's a good
something by manipulation, trickery,
well,
or
but the manipulation part,
guile,
because I've heard people say, "I'll just finagle this."
which was the Wordle word earlier this week.
But no, I think there is a definition that is less devious. It's more of
Yes.
like adjusting and messing with it a little bit. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go with you. I like it. I like the word, and when you hear it, you know
Oh,
what you know,
yes.
like, yes, it's a good word.
I think we're using it wrong though. In slang though, I think everyone knows what that means.
Yeah.
Like to
Okay.
finagle. Matt Milano was not fixing his brace using trickery. I can tell you
Yes.
that. Okay, next question. Let's go to growth mindset 2039. I giggled when I put that growth mindset, Sean McDermott's favorite.
Yeah.
Is this team playing its best football?
Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Because they can beat you. Well, okay. I still think they can be better.
Yes. Okay.
So
That's
when
yeah.
I say the best we've seen as an entire team, I don't think the passing game has been great. The weather impacted it certainly on Sunday.
Yeah.
Um, I think there are moments, but this team can beat you multiple ways.
Yeah.
They run the ball, Josh just making Josh plays, throwing the ball. That has not always been the case. And defensively, it's funny. Like, yes, they are not great against the run, not great. They are outstanding against the pass. They do not give up big pass plays.
Yeah.
It happens on the run. I mean, it does, whatever they do, but all around, I think they are playing very well. The one thing, it's always a concern about Tyler Bass and kicking, though I see more and more kickers missing
No,
all
Justin
over the
Tucker.
place. Yeah, Tucker was bad again.
Yeah.
Um, but all in all, I think as a group, this is the most efficient
Complete.
and complete they've
Yeah.
been. They have been more spectacular throwing the ball. There's no question. More of like, in 2020 and
Yeah.
21, like they were just chucking it all over the place and they could do it, but they didn't run the ball particularly well.
I was gonna say, I feel like this is the best balance of having the finesse, but
Yes.
also having the physicality so you can win in any type of environment.
Yes. Friend of the pod, Dan Orlovsky, was talking about that on ESPN, and he said he referenced that Bengals game. And he said when the Bengals came in the playoffs, they basically physically beat up the Bills, and they did. And that's the way the Bills play now. They are the more physical team.
Yeah.
They're certainly that way on offense. Credit to Sean McDermott. He's wanted this and he's got it now. He's got a
Yeah.
physical team that can run the ball. Oh, and by the way, still has Josh Allen and Khalil Shakir and Amari Cooper
Mhm.
and Keon Coleman and all the other guys that can contribute. So maybe not as much sizzle, but an awful lot of steak with this offense.
Yeah, and Dan tweeted it out, and I think this is really fitting. Is just like the Bills wide receivers are not going to get you a ton of fantasy points. They're just not. But
Mhm.
what they do for the Bills is so effective that that's all that matters.
Yep.
Like stats wise, not incredibly huge numbers, but they do the job and they do it well. And it's obviously led to 30 plus points or 30 or more points in a lot of games this season.
Honestly, Jenna, it reminds me, everybody now references Mahomes and what they've done. It reminds me more of what the Patriots did
Patriots,
for the
yeah,
majority of the time.
I agree.
Good, smart, tough
Solid.
wide receivers, tight end who can make plays, good offensive line,
Yep.
and an elite quarterback. And it works. I mean, when they had Randy Moss, they chucked it all over the place and won almost everything except the last one. But that's what this reminds me of with the Bills because they can beat you in a lot of ways.
That's a good comparison. I like
Yeah.
that. You're right, because it does feel similar to that. And we got to shout out the Bills O line. I know you mentioned it, but
Yeah.
they have been so dominant this season. I want to know more. I think this is the question I'm going to ask this week to maybe Dion or someone. Just like, what is Aaron Cromer like? Like, how has he been able to kind of transform this line, and just to see how well each guy is playing has been really fun to watch.
Yeah. He's obviously it's his second stint with the Bills. It's a
Yeah.
very different time when he was there before. He's been with the Rams before. He's been around this league. He's been an OC before too, for a period of time. And sometimes when guys get in this position, like, do I think he could call plays? Yeah. I mean, he's
Yeah.
done it. But boy, if you can be an elite offensive line coach, you will get paid and teams will love you and they will keep you. And if he wants to stay in Buffalo, I mean, this is the best this O-line has been. And you
Yeah.
see other guys step in. Alec Anderson comes in, is
He
effective.
plays
You've
with some
seen that.
nastiness.
Yes. By the way, did he get engaged too?
I don't know if he got engaged or married. I think he got
Oh,
engaged.
okay.
Because weren't you?
I think it was Alec Anderson engaged. Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
which is
Did
funny.
you
I was
see
like,
somebody had a very funny comment? Hold on. I gotta find it. I love our viewers. They crack me up. Um, oh, hold on. Sorry. Um, no, just talking about all the players getting like engaged and
mhm.
just everything with that. Somebody had a funny comment where they said, "Oh, this is great podcasting." Um, all right, it doesn't matter. Never mind. Just kidding. They essentially said that Josh was inspired by me getting engaged. I can't remember.
Do you
It
want
made
to?
me giggle. It made me laugh.
Do you want to tell everybody that it's a double wedding next year?
Mike is hypothesizing that Josh Allen's wedding will be on my wedding.
The same day.
Yeah.
I just, hey, it's we worked around you worked around football. You picked a very
Oh,
nice time in
yeah.
the summer. Maybe that's what Josh is doing for all the
We'll
boys to
see.
be able to come. So,
It's a good day.
well, if I get invited to both, I mean, I know
Man,
I'll I'll probably go to yours, but
are you
let's
sure?
see.
It's okay.
Yeah, yeah,
The whole could you imagine the going to both?
yeah,
All right. Last question from
yep.
this is Taylor Jackson 2616. Seeing as though the Bills are only a game behind for the 1 seed, what record do you think they need to have over the last 5 games to catch the Chiefs? Now, so remaining on the Bills schedule, they have obviously the Rams this week, the Lions after that, and then it goes Pats, Jets, Pats.
Yeah.
So I do think it's important to note with the Chiefs schedule as well. So the Chiefs have the Chargers at the Browns, the Texans at Pittsburgh, at Denver. So these games are shaping up to be more challenging than I mean I would have expected heading in.
Yeah, I would say, look, it's easy to say. If they go 5-0, they're going to be the 1 seed because the Chiefs are losing one of those games. That's a tough
Let me
stretch for them.
Yeah. Do
By
you
the
think the
way,
wheels fall off the Chiefs now? I have this feeling I could get
I
confused
have a
by it.
feeling that the Bills are not going to face them in the playoffs. I think
Mm,
they're going to I think they have been incredible and they deserve all the accolades and going for 3 in a row is incredible.
yeah.
But right now, no, they're getting Hollywood Brown back. Pacheco is back. Like that's going to make them better. You
Yeah.
know that team, but something, that's a lot of games. We saw it with the Niners in a different way. The Niners have been there playing almost the same amount of games, and it just beat them up. The Chiefs have had a lot of that. They've been okay this year. The defense has been good, but not what it's been. I mean, look at this year. Like I watched those 2 games and I saw the Raiders move up and down the field on them. We
Yeah.
saw the Panthers move up and down the field on them. We saw the Bills put 30 on them. Listen, they're great, but they're losing at least one of those games. And by the way, Jameis Winston
Yeah.
praying to avoid pick sixes is one of the funniest things you'll ever
I
hear with
love
Cleveland.
I love Jameis
Hey,
Winston.
at least he makes Cleveland legit. They are having a ball playing. I mean, his
Yeah.
games are wild. They are
Wild.
must-see TV. I think he's at the top of the list now. You never know who's going to score a touchdown when Jameis is throwing. Which guy on which team?
He's fun to watch.
He
Yeah.
is, and he can still throw the ball. But there's some tough games, and there's tough games for the Bills. This one's
Yeah.
not going to be easy. That Detroit game, and then you got the Patriots twice, and
The
it's going
Jets.
all so well. Maybe it'll be Tyrod by the time the
I
Bills
don't
play the
know.
Jets. I don't know, but yeah, I think it's easy to say. But I'll tell you this: if they win all 5, which would be what, a 12-game winning streak going into the playoffs, they're going to
Damn.
be the 1 seed because I do think they'll lose once.
Mhm.
It's a lot to say the Chiefs will lose twice. They don't lose that often, but with that schedule, like Pittsburgh's going to give them all they can handle in
Yeah.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. Let's see what happens. But there's a
I
lot
think
of
the Ch
reasons. Yeah.
I think the Chiefs lose to I think they lose to the Chargers, and I think that which is a home game for them,
Yeah.
and I think they lose to the Steelers.
Yeah. I
This
think that Steelers game is going to be really something. That's going to be a tough game.
and the
And the
Broncos.
Steelers are hanging right there, by the way. I
Yeah.
mean, their record is really good. I got to apologize to Steelers fans. Like I was hard on the beginning. I was like, this team is like whatever.
I still
And
think they're frauds. I still
Russ
think
is
they're
playing
frauds.
well.
I still think they're frauds, but yeah, I hear you. I hear
Yeah.
you.
I
I
mean,
just
it's
don't like
just they
Pittsburgh.
are a very physical team that in a given playoff game is tough.
Yeah.
Is a tough game. Can they win 3? I don't know, but I'll put it to you this way. I think they're a tough matchup for the Chiefs.
I agree,
Yeah.
totally. This actually is a good segue because the NFL today on Tuesday put out the playoff picture with
Yeah.
5 weeks to go. Right now they have the Chiefs obviously as the 1 seed, and then the Bills are the 2 seed. Pittsburgh's the 3, Texans are the 4, Chargers are the 5, Ravens are the 6, and Broncos are the 7. So that would make the Bills matchup the 2 seed versus 7 seed. So it would be Bills versus Broncos.
I think it's kind of like the NFC where I think a couple of the wild card teams are better than division winners.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
fair.
love that Houston team right now. They're okay.
Yeah.
They're not great. They're okay. And they barely beat Mac Jones last week when Trevor got knocked out. And obviously when you look, I mean, you've got Pittsburgh is obviously, like I said, a good team. You got the Chiefs and the Bills, but in that case, that fourth team to me, Denver's got something going there.
They're
Like,
frisky.
yeah, Bo Nix, that throw he made last night, like for a rookie quarterback, he's looked pretty good. He and May in New England have looked pretty good. Yet
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
kid's going to be in the playoffs. It looks like so, or a good chance. So, yeah, that matchup would be interesting for the Bills. But there's a lot of football before we know who's the 1 and the 2.
Do you expect the Bills or do you project them to take the 1 seed?
Yeah, I think they're going to do it.
I do too, and I think Josh is gonna be MVP.
Yep. I had somebody say to me, like, look
And
at where the
Saquon
Bills
will be player of the year, offensive player of the year.
offensive player of the year. And I think, but they were saying, look, where would the Bills be? And they went through this whole description. I'm like, yes, you could say that the last 5 years with the Bills. Like Josh
Mhm.
is that guy.
Yeah.
And he deserves a most valuable player. He has been that good. I think there's a very good chance he wins it. I will say this is not just the Philly in me. Barkley's been incredible. Now, it's a little different at running back, but like he's going to end up with probably 2,000 yards, big moments, big games, 70-yard touchdowns. Like for a running back,
Mhm.
I think he's going to end up 2 in the
Yeah,
MVP voting. So if you're 2, you could be 1, right? I mean,
that's
we're
true.
not joking around. I don't think there's that much of a competition, meaning the amount of players. I think it's Josh and Saquon and
Yeah.
maybe Jared Goff because their record is so good and he's been very good. Maybe not
Yeah.
high level, but very good. I don't know who else is in there. I mean, listen, Lamar's awesome, but they've got what, 5 losses? He's not going to be the MVP this year, as good as he's been. So I think it's, I won't say Josh is to lose, but it's Josh and Barkley. And I think the way this will play out, I think Josh is going to win it.
I do too. Unless there's something crazy that happens in the last 5 weeks of the season, but
Yeah, I mean,
I
like,
think right now it's Josh in the driver's seat, and
and I also
especially those,
think,
like, nationally televised games, like, those always help, and then a
yes.
lot of eyes on the Detroit game, obviously,
Mhm.
and then even the Rams game, it being, like, a 4:25 later start, East
I
Coast.
also, I'm sorry. I also think the Eagles are going to
Wait, they're both
try.
4:25. You told me the Rams game was a 4:05, and I was like, "No, I'm pretty sure it's a
Oh,
4:20."
so it's 425. Oh,
Yeah,
it's 425.
they're both
Okay.
4:25, yeah.
Huh. Uh, I think the Eagles are going to try to cut back on some of Barkley's snaps. They have Carolina. By the way,
Bryce
I'm not
Young.
I'm not Uncle Dan's best bets. I would take the Panthers and the points. I think they're getting like 12 and a half. Eagles coming off some huge wins, even though it's at home. I think that's a close game. I
Really?
think the
12
Panthers
and a
have
half?
played.
Yeah.
I do not see a blowout in that, but
Mm-mm.
they still have the Giants, the Cowboys, the Commanders, I think. And they have the Steelers too. The Eagles have the Steelers. But
That'll be a
I
good
think
game.
at a point they're going to say, let's come back on Saquon snaps, get him ready for the playoffs.
I know, but I want
So
him to get 2,000 yards.
yeah, I mean he's going to be he's at, I think he's at 1499 now.
Just
It's pretty
absurd.
good. Yeah, pretty good.
Okay, anything else you wanna add?
No, I don't think so. Like I said, Kurt Sandoval, that's going to be up probably Wednesday morning, so look for that.
So why don't you tell people, remind them who that is?
Kurt Sandoval's the sports anchor in LA. does the Sean McVay show, travels with the team. Like he's on it with the Rams. He gives you a great rundown of the Rams. I always like the people that are knowledgeable and honest about the teams. He's telling you what's good, what's not good, what to look for, how their offense has been, what their issues have been, the way McVay coaches, all that stuff. He's great. So I think you'll enjoy that. Jenna and I, we will be at practice Wednesday. We'll do the podcast Thursday night. I think we can plan on doing that as a live pod. Maybe we can get Papa Daniel Fates if he wants to jump in.
Yeah, hopefully.
We're
but
giving him
also
all the space he wants. He's got the babies.
Yes. I have not been texting him because I'm trying to be supportive from afar, but not annoying, which I struggle with.
The king of content is itching to do stuff. So, and then you and I will be out in LA for the game.
Yes. Michael sent me the screenshot of the weather in LA for this weekend, and that got me through yesterday.
Well, yeah, because the last time we were there, it was 97 degrees.
It was blazing hot. Do you remember how hot it was at SoFi?
Oh, I remember as we were going in the stadium, John Scott, now from Channel 2, tweeted out, "I'm sweating through my sport coat. Like, this is nuts." And I said to you, "I'm done." I grabbed a polo. I said, "I'm not doing," because it was absurd. You were on the field, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Absurdly hot during that game because it's not a dome.
No, it's not.
It's a covered stadium.
And they said there's like there's like an opening for like ventilation, but there was zero ventilation.
By the way, I will give you this. He said it's not a true home field advantage because there's always fans from other teams. He goes, this team moved and then came back. It's a different thing. It's an awesome place to see a game. And there will be a lot of Bills fans, West Coast Bills fans, Eastern Bills fans. Like, if you want to go out to LA for a few days and go,
it's a good trip.
Pretty good game to go because it's a cool place to see a game. And the visiting fans in a lot of games are 40, 50% because people make the trip to go to LA. Crazy. So we'll see if that's how many Bills fans are.
It's a beautiful stadium to check out.
Yep.
When you walk in, you actually go, like, the ground floor of the stadium is what, 8 floors?
I think he said it's 6 floors straight down.
Yeah.
And it's
so they had to build a stadium down because it's actually on a flight path to LAX.
Yeah. Planes are going right past. So it's cool. And by the way, it's another thing. I didn't even look at the schedule if anybody cares, but that brand new Clippers arena that is the Intuit Dome that is crazy inside. It's got all the electronics and everything that goes with it. That is like you could almost walk to it from the parking lot. It's right there. I don't even know if the Clippers are playing, but he was saying that it's worth it just to see the place. It's an incredible setup that they have, that the Clippers play there. Nice. So I don't know if there's anything going on this weekend.
Well, Mike, you're planning on our trip, right? What we're doing on Saturday?
Yeah, trying to see around because, it's the last time we were there, we went to a Dodgers game, which was a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Dodger Stadium was cool. It was
beautiful.
I got a place for us to eat. It's usually your job, but it's you would know it. So we'll see. Really? We'll see if you agree.
Okay. What kind of food?
Sushi.
Love it. Okay. All right. That'll do it for this edition of You Ask, We Answer, presented by Stella Roofing, Windows, and Siding. For Mike Catalana, I am Jenna Cottrell. Dan Fade's still off, but he always appreciates if you would like, comment, subscribe, and share. Thank you. All right. And we'll catch you next time on the Buffalo Plus channel, presented by Connors and Ferris. We'll start with this question from Robin.
So there's still a damn good defense. I have zero problem with them bringing this guy in.